Hello guys, welcome back. On today's tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to make a reversible sun heart. We'll be needing the basic measurement of our head circumference. So kindly like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, share, thank you. So we'll be needing our head circumference measurement. We'll divide it by 6.284 and we'll also divide it by 2. For the top panel, you divide it by 6.284. For the middle panel, you are dividing it by 2. So we are going to be folding our fabric. Sorry, I'm using brown paper in this video, but yeah, you'll be using your fabric. You're going to be folding your fabric into 4, like you're cutting a peplum top or a peplum. That's how to cut a peplum. You fold it in 4. So at the my head circumference was 23 inches. When I divided it by 6.284, it gave me 3.66 whatever. Approximately that's 3.7. So I'm going to be measuring my 3.7 inches round my measurement like so. So I'm measuring my 3.7 inches round. You measure your 3.7 inches round like this. This is for the top panel. So you join it together. Then you pick up your scissors and cut it out like I'm doing in this video. So this is what it looks like. Then you can open it up. So this is my top panel. I'm cutting 2 pieces of this fabric. If you'd like to use a plain and pattern fabric, then you cut 1 piece for the plain fabric and 1 piece for the pattern fabric. Then you'll be cutting 1 interface. That's for the hair stay. The stay you're using could be a paper stay or hair stay or a suit stay. So I'm just sort of like measuring it again to show you guys how I did it. So that's my 3.7 inches round. And this is my top panel. So now we're going to be cutting out our middle panel. That's our circumference, head circumference round, which is 23 inches divided by 2, which is 11.5 inches. So we're going to be cutting our 11.5 inches on a straight line. You mark it out, and we'll be using width 5. I'll be using 5 inches for the width of this middle panel. So I'll measure my 5 inches down. So you join the lines. After joining the line, you're going to measure 1.5 inches upward just to make like a slant. And you measure it on the upper part too. So you're going to connect these lines like a boat shape. It's not straight, it's not slant, it's sort of curvy a bit. So you join it up, and to the upper panel too, you join it like so. So you measure half inches inward from the upper part just to make like a curve, because I don't want it to be too sharp at that end. So now we're good to go. We can cut it out. So you cut it out like so. Yeah, so this is our middle panel for our sun heart. So this part will be on fold. This part will be on fold. The part I marked, it will be on fold, and we are cutting two of this on the fabric. If it's a plain and pattern fabric, then you cut one for the plain and one for the pattern, and you cut one piece for the interface. So this is our middle panel. So now we're going to be cutting the brim panel. That is the part that is always showing at the outer part. The biggest part of the heart, of our sun heart, is what we call the brim panel. So I'm folding in four like I did for the top panel. So we're folding it in four like so. So we're going to be picking our top panel that we cut. We're going to fold this back, and we're going to be placing it on the upper part like I'm doing in this video. Then you just mark it on your new laid pattern, on your new laid paper. So you mark it out like this, remove it. Then I'm using 5 inches for the wideness of my brim panel. That's how wide I want it to be. You can add to it and you can remove from it. You can make it 7, 6, depending on how big you want it to be. But for the picture you saw at the beginning of this video, I used 5. I used these basic measurements I used now for the heart. So if you want it bigger than that, you can add to this. But if you want it smaller, you can remove from it. You can use 3, 3.5, depending on how you want it. So I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance to it. So I'm adding it at the top part, about half an inch, and at the down part, about half an inch. So I'm just adding it round like so. So this is the brim panel. So we're going to be cutting it out. I'm going to be cutting it out like I'm doing in this video carefully. Okay, so here we go. So I'm trying to like show you what it will look like at the end. Remember, we are cutting this middle panel on fold, but since it's not on fold yet, I'm just trying to show you guys what's a picture of what we have. Yes, so this is how our sun heart looks like. So now this is I want to cut it on the fabric, but on this fabric I want it to be smaller. I don't want it as big as the one at the beginning of this video. I want it to be smaller, so I'm going to be reducing the inches I used. So this is the middle panel. I reduced this by 1.5 inches because I don't want it to be too big. I want a sun hat that I could rock out on a casual wear and all. So I want it to be smaller. So I'm reducing it by 1.5 inches using the same pattern that I drafted for the first one. So I'm just cutting out the 1.5 inches like so. so I have it smaller. Then for my top panel, I'm just folding it like so. I'm cutting it out, but my top panel, I won't be removing anything from my top panel. It will be exactly what I used for the first sun hat. So I'm not cutting out anything from it, even though I'm reducing the other part. The top panel remains the same because it's like the one on guiding the edge shape and all that. So I'm cutting it out exactly. I'm not reducing anything from the top panel. So here we have the brim panel. I'm also reducing the brim panel because I don't want it to be too big. I don't want to be as big as the one we have at the beginning of this video. So I'm just going to reduce it a bit. So I'm first going to cut it out. I'm using the pattern I drafted to cut it out exactly before I reduce it. So I used the pattern to cut it out already. So I'm just going to reduce it. So I'm reducing my brim panel by 1.5 inch also round, because I don't want it to be as big as the first one I made. So I'm just gonna chalk my 1.5 inch round like so. And I'm going to cut it out. So I'm cutting it out like this. So this is what I have. So now I'll be needing to cut it on my I'll be needing an interface. So I used my paper stay as my interface. You could also use your hair stay or your suit stay for, and on this particular one, I'm just putting my interface on the brim panel, but on the picture I linked up with the at the beginning of this video, I stayed all the other parts. I used paper stay for all the parts. So I'm using only my interface for just the brim panel for this pattern, because I want it to look, I want it to be casual. I don't want it to look churchy or sort of. So that was why I reduced I didn't use the paper stay on all of the parts, because I want it to be calm, just just look stylish. So I just knot the parts of this my top panel so it's easier to sew. So I knot the 4 edges of the top panel. Yeah, so after notching, I already sewed that part that was opened on the middle panel. So I'm just going to be joining it to the top panel like so. I'm joining this particular part, the down part. So I'll first have to pin it down before I go to the sewing machine to stitch it. So I'm just going to pin it down first, pin it down round to make sure that is exactly the same wideness. So just pin it down. So yes, I'm done pinning down. So I'm just going to stitch it on the machine like that round. So I'm going to stitch it round like so on my sewing machine. So I'm done stitching. This is what I have, guys. It looks good, yeah. So I'm going to turn it to the front side. So when I turn it, this is what I have already looking like a cap. So we're going to be joining the brim panel now to have, yeah, so this is our brim panel. So you first have to iron your stay on the, but sorry, we're in Nigeria, don't have lights here, so at the time I was making this video I was unable to iron it, but I'm just going to show you guys how to make it. So after ironing that part, then you're going to stitch it together with the middle panel, with the panels you have joined. You know, you've joined the top and the middle panel already, so you are joining it now to the brim panel. Then you can hold it with pin like so. So I'm not going to be joining this in this video because I was unable to um iron it. I was unable to put my stay on the fabric. So I'm just going to pin it and show you guys what it looks like, what it should look like when you're making yours. So you just pin it round. Even if you're going to sew it, you still have to pin it round so that it's easier to sew and it doesn't stress you much. So I pinned it round already. Make sure you don't have excess. So this is what is already looking beautiful, looking like what we want. So I reduced the brim panel and the middle panel for this. So you do the same for the lining, you do it separately because we are making a reversible sun hat. So you are sewing them separately like this, like you're having two separate caps. Sorry, I used my scrap fabrics at home, that's why I had to use lining together with material on the scrap one, the one on top right now. So I was unable to get a new fabric. So I hope you are just learning. That's the important thing. So you just go ahead and pin it down again together. You know, the front side is facing the front side for both. So after pinning it down, you turn it out, and here you have it. So now this also is reversible, but I use the same fabric but for both the inner and outer parts. So I can just turn it out, turn it in, it still looks good. I can wear it whichever way. So if you were using a plain fabric for the inner part, so you'd have had it like this. So this is what we have at the end of everything. Thank you for watching my channel. I am Unique Excel.